From Washington, D.C., this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Hena Zuberi. First, the headlines. Turkey rescues 63 asylum seekers pushed back by Greece. Pope Francis says we're in the age of walls and barbed wire. Indian military kills 13 civilians in the Christian majority state. SHERIF ZAKI, CDC disease detective, dies at age 65. Burmese junta jails Suu Kyi for 4 years. And our top story tonight. Turkey rescues 63 asylum seekers who were illegally pushed back by Greece to Turkish waters, a security source said on Sunday. They were transferred to the local migration office, the source added. Human rights groups have repeatedly condemned Greece's illegal practice of pushing back asylum seekers. They say it violates humanitarian values and international law by endangering the lives of vulnerable refugees, including women and children. Turkey already hosts 4 million refugees, more than any other country in the world. It is taking new security measures on its borders to humanely prevent a fresh influx of migrants. Pope Francis on Sunday urged globally coordinated action to tackle the refugee issue as he visited Greece. Francis criticized the European Union's stance on refugees and for hardening border controls. The Pope warned that problems are not resolved by building walls higher, but by joining forces to care for others and in respect for the law. He called for valuing every human life. Fleeing war or poverty, tens of thousands of refugees from Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, and Libya have turned towards Europe in recent years. Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan announced Sunday a top civilian award for a man who risked his life trying to save a Sri Lankan man from being lynched. Adnan Malik is being hailed as a hero. This was after Malik tried to save Priyantha Diawandana, a factory manager attacked and killed by an angry mob over allegations of blasphemy. He was beaten to death Friday and his body burnt by the mob in Sialkot, a city in Pakistan's northeastern Punjab province. Videos circulating on social media showed Malik physically shielding Diawandana from the vigilante mob. Pakistani police arrested 124 people who participated in the attack under terrorism charges. Noted Islamic scholar Mufti Taqi Usmani on Saturday condemned the killing. He said taking it upon oneself to accuse and mete out punishment in a barbaric and illegal way has no justification at all. Leaders of more than 100 countries will gather virtually at a summit for democracy sponsored by President Joe Biden's administration this week. Human rights and civil society groups say that they want to see concrete commitments to push back against rising authoritarianism. They also called for the United States to admit it has work to do to shore up its democratic institutions. The December 9th to 10th summit will focus on defending against authoritarianism, addressing and fighting corruption, and promoting respect for human rights, said the State Department. Its aim is to reassert the United States' role on the global stage as a leader of democratic nations. American Muslim human rights group Justice for All, as well as other human rights organizations, are organizing parallel programs to educate and protest the inclusion of fascists invited to the summit, like Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi. A U.S. congressman has sparked outrage by posting a Christmas photo of himself and his family holding guns. Thomas Massie, a Republican lawmaker from Kentucky, tweeted a photo of himself and his family posing with machine guns in front of a Christmas tree. His tweet read, "Merry Christmas. P.S. Santa, please bring ammo." Massie's post came days after the November 30th shooting at Oxford High School in Michigan that left 4 students dead and 8 more injured. Fred Guttenberg, father of one of the 17 victims of the 2018 Parkland High School shooting, responded to the congressman with a photo of his late daughter. Adama Barrow was declared the winner of Gambia's presidential election Sunday by Electoral Commission, winning a second term in office. Saturday's election is the first since former dictator Yahya Jammeh fled into exile. It is seen as crucial for the tiny West African nation's fledgling democracy. Barrow's main rival, Oceano Darboe, and two other candidates rejected the results in a joint statement. Here is Adama Barrow, the Gambian president.
Having been the lucky person to be chosen by you, I sincerely assure you, each and every one of you, that I will do all I can and utilize every resource at my disposal to make the Gambia a better place for us all.
Another protester was killed in the Mon district of Nagaland in India after Indian soldiers fired at people protesting the killing of 13 civilians a day earlier. Officials described the alleged killings as a botched-up operation. It has caused widespread outrage in the northeastern state, which has witnessed decades of armed rebellion against Indian rule. Nagaland is one of the 3 Indian states where Christians constitute a majority. 88% of the population is Christian. The region has been relatively quiet in recent years as armed groups started negotiations with the Indian government. Students at Tigard High School in Tigard, Oregon, organized a walkout in solidarity with classmates of color protesting a racist video. It surfaced on TikTok and Instagram over the Thanksgiving holiday. It showed students using slurs targeting Black, Muslim, and Asian people. Demonstrators told local news station KGW the racism goes unchecked in the high school's hallways. The school district's superintendent attended the protest but did not give details on any potential punishment for the students who filmed the racist video. Some protesters called for the students to be suspended. Dr. SHERIF ZAKI, a disease expert at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, has died at 65. ZAKI was known for his photographic memory and knack for solving tough disease mysteries. He helped identify COVID-19, Ebola, West Nile, and Zika viruses, as well as a bioterrorism attack that spread anthrax in 2001. His wife, Nadia Zaki, said he died in an Atlanta hospital from complications of injuries sustained in a fall down a flight of stairs at his home last month. Zaki joined the CDC in 1988 and became chief of the agency's infectious disease pathology branch in the early 1990s. He was born in Alexandria, Egypt, and later became a naturalized American citizen. A man accused of shooting and killing 10 people at a Boulder, Colorado grocery store has been found incompetent to stand trial after a second evaluation. Judge Ingrid Bach ruled Friday that Ahmad al-Alawi Alisa was mentally incompetent, halting proceedings indefinitely. Alisa is facing about 50 charges for allegedly killing 10 people at a King Super grocery store in 2020, police said. District Attorney Michael Doherty requested Alisa to be sent to a state mental hospital after 4 doctors determined he was mentally incompetent for trial. A hearing is set for March 15 to review Alisa's progress and decide how the case should proceed. A mobile library bus opened its doors for the first time on Sunday at a Kabul orphanage since the Taliban's return to power in Afghanistan. The mobile library is one of the 5 buses leased by a local organization called Char Maghz. It was established by Farishta Karim, an Afghan graduate from Oxford University. In recent years, hundreds of children have used the mobile libraries daily, as many Kabul schools lack their own libraries. Ahmed Farim Barakati, deputy head of the nonprofit initiative, said almost all sponsors were lost after the Taliban takeover, which has hurt girls' education. The Taliban's education ministry granted permission for the mobile libraries to restart several weeks ago. Burma's junta jailed ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi on Monday for 4 years for incitement against the military and breaching COVID-19 rules. These are the first of a series of possible sentences that could see the Nobel laureate imprisoned for decades. Suu Kyi, 76, has been detained since the general staged a coup and ousted her government on February the 1st. That ended the Southeast Asian country's brief period of democracy. She has since been hit with a series of charges, including violating the Official Secrets Act, as well as corruption and electoral fraud. She faces decades in jail if she's convicted of all counts. In recent weeks, other senior members of Suu Kyi's party, the National League for Democracy, have received long sentences. Amnesty International and the Burma Task Force immediately condemned the sentences against Suu Kyi. Burma Task Force Chair Imam Malik Mujahid condemned the sentence. He said the Burmese military sentencing Suu Kyi for 2 years in prison for breaching COVID rules is ridiculous. He added that this also reveals that if the Burmese government can do this to a high-profile person like Suu Kyi, what are they doing to Rohingya, Kachin, and other minorities? Coming up next, after the break, is our in-depth analysis segment on Iran nuclear talks. So stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
I am what hunger looks like in America.
I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs,
and that's still not enough to put food on the table.
I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Welcome back. To discuss the future of Iran's nuclear talks and other developments related to Iran-US and Iran-Israel relations, let's go to Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid. Over to you.
Thank you, Hena. Not many Americans know that there are 7,000 Iranian students, Iranian citizens that is, are studying in America. They're studying different topics. We have one of them to discuss with us Iran-America relations and Iran relations with Israel and other places. YOUSOF AZIZI is an Iranian citizen and a graduate student, PhD student at the Public Administration in Virginia Tech, which is in Virginia, of course. Welcome to Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. So how is the relationship of America with Iran nowadays? If there are 7,000 students, I would say there are 7,000 Iranian ambassadors to the United States, but do you have an embassy in America?
As you know, since 1979, unfortunately, there is no official diplomatic relation between Iran and the United States. So there is no embassy in Iran or embassy of United States in Iran or embassy of Iran in Washington, D.C. There are embassies who help those countries have some minimal relationship. For example, in Iran, Switzerland have the right to, do something on behalf of United States, and in Washington, D.C., United States, the Pakistani embassy do some of the very, very short and minimal issues for Iranian government here in Washington, D.C.
So does it also, if students are coming and going, are there some business and trade which is taking place between the two countries?
No, there is no trade because of some sanction that United States put on Iran. It's not secondary sanction on other countries. It is the sanctions on U.S. citizens who cannot have any kind of business and trade with Iranians. If they want, they have to go to one department in the Department of Treasury and named OFAC, and get the license to do business with Iran, even the humanitarian issues, even for going and pay something for poor people or needy people in Iran. So the Iranian American citizens here, the American citizens, the international organization who wanted to help even in humanitarian and health issue and food issue, they have to get the license from OFAC from Washington, D.C.
So our Iranian students, which you mentioned about 7,000 of them, do they face any difficulties in America? People say, hey, what are you doing here? I mean, I have been asked to go back also, but I'm an American citizen. So tell us about what is their experience in America.
Yeah, before the revolution, the Iranian students here is actually the ranking one, the most number of international students in the United States from Iran. It is over 50,000 students at that time in 1970s. That's a huge number. But during the time after the revolution, especially, this number is decreasing. And during the Obama time, it is again in one of the best time after the revolution. It is about 12 to 15,000 students in the United States studying mostly engineering and mostly working through the medical issues, engineering issues, and after graduation going to the Silicon Valley and something like that. But during the Trump administration, with his rhetoric and with the Muslim ban, especially affecting the Iranians and Iranian families. So the number of students again decreasing. And, for example, when we wanted to apply for visa for United States to come to the United States for education, we have to go to the third country, even either Turkey or UAE or Armenia, to get visa. And, there are many difficulties. The families cannot come here. It's very hard that family can come and visit. Or when we go out, most of Iranians receive a single type of visa, a student visa, which means that if you go out for any kind of emergency, again, you have to proceed all of these long processes to get visa and come back. And most of the time you face to, for example, the classes miss, the dissertation time miss, everything miss. So there are many examples that talked during these past years that, the people cannot complete their education here and they have to go to somewhere like Scotland, Canada, or something like that. But as answering to your specific question, I didn't see such a things in Michigan, University of Michigan, when I got my master's, and in Virginia Tech when I got I'm studying my PhD. I'm also working in Harvard, so I didn't see this kind of discrimination in university spaces, because most of the time in university era and the cities that university happen, most of the time it's this liberal kind of thinking, and the people are very nice to international students. But many students and many families in rural area, or when they go to the trip or something like that, they face such arguments. But yeah, it's happening. So
tell us, most of these conflicts which is out there between Iran and America has to do with the nuclear deal, which Obama signed, and President Trump moved away from it. What is the status of those negotiations? Are you hopeful those negotiations will be successful?
As you said, President Obama think that the first move and the most important part of the problem and conflict that Iran has with the West or the United States, that he can, resolve it in a way that it would be a first step to normalize the issue, to go through another talk about the regional security or other matter of issues. So it would be a nuclear issue, because nuclear program of Iran was a concern of not only United States, France, England, European Union, even Russia and China, which is the 5 permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. So the art of sanction that we talk about Obama, there's a book named on Art of Sanction that his advisor wrote about the sanctioning Iran and how it was successful to bring Iran to the table, as they thought. It is about that, how they could manage all of the countries around the world, especially the world powers, minimize their differences in other issues and focus on Iran. So during the 2009, 2010, 2011, Russia and China, even Russia and China joined United States in United Nations Security Council to pass a resolution against Iran and put the hard sanction against Iran. So there are other issues that brought us to the JCPOA. And, after 12 years, but 2 years of intense negotiation, all parties agreed on the JCPOA, so the Iran nuclear deal in 2015, which is really restricted Iran's nuclear program in turn that Iran can, do its businesses. It can sell its oil and bring back the money, the dollars and currencies to the country. And also the central bank of Iran can do its businesses easily and freely with other banks. So it is not going completely as Iranian thought after 2015, but at least it helps Iranian to revive their economy. So President Trump has different idea, and perhaps, as all of us know, he didn't read that agreement. He just wanted to do something that said, okay, the Obama did something wrong. I wanted to do it and get a better deal. He always said about the better deal. And by better deal, he meant that, okay, I will put all of the problems we have with Iran on this table at the same time, and wanted to discuss and negotiate with Iranian to receive a comprehensive agreement with Iran. That's not going to happen. The Iranian never go to talk about everything at the same time, because during these past 40 years, Iranians several times, Iranian trusted United States. When the United States wanted to attack Afghanistan, Iranian helped them, when they wanted to attack Saddam Hussein. So I'm not saying that helped them. They not coming to, to put some barriers in front of the United States. But at the end, George W. Bush said that, okay, Iran is in the axle of evil. Okay, so there are many problems that Iranian cannot trust the United States. Maybe the same from the United States. So Obama think that, okay, the nuclear program could be the first step, and then we can go through the talk about the other issues. But Trump didn't think that, and he withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, put all of the sanctions back on Iranians. Iranian resisted, and this time China and Russia, and even most of the European countries, they didn't accept the U.S. logic here. The European didn't help Iranian on, overcoming the sanction, but at least politically in United Nations Security Council, they didn't vote on behalf in favor of United States last year when Bush bring the Iran file to the United Nations Security Council. So when Biden came to the power, many people hoped that he tried to revive the 2015 agreement, and he wanted to do what President Obama did about Iran. But unfortunately, it seems that he thought maybe that he can use those leverage that President Trump did against Iran as a sanction, as economic issues, to get a better deal. I don't know what kind of better deal, but he mentioned he and his Secretary of State and Wendy Sherman, the second ranking officials in the State Department, that we wanted the longer and better deal from Iran. So again, I'm not sure. We all hope that during the next week and the next round of the negotiation, they can reach to a deal that secure the international and regional security for all of the players in the region.
There are regional countries who are concerned about Iran. Iran's presence in the region, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and different areas. Now, some of those countries are signing up deal with Israel, and Israel also is willing to bomb and stop Iran from acquiring nuclear bomb. So why Iran is pursuing a policy which is creating so many regional enemies?
This is a good question. Particularly, I believe that during the negotiation, at the last months of the negotiation, even during the Obama administration, the negotiating team from the United States asked for Iran to, after we ended the nuclear talk and resolved this issue, let's go to talk about the other issues, regional issues, with the Saudi Arabia, with Israel, with Turkey, maybe Qatar, Emiratis, and other players there. And the supreme leader of Iran has a very bold and rare position at that time. It is about March 2015, I guess. If we see that the United States comply with its promises and its obligation under the deal, we don't have any hesitation to go and talk about other issues with the United States. On the regional issues, Iranians believe that, we have to solve the regional issues with our neighbors, with our brothers and sisters, and without the intervention of, the great powers, whether it is Russia or United States or other countries. And they offered many times that, let's see and talk about the regional securities, about the issues. But that's not going to happen. And maybe because the United States presence there is not very productive. It's maybe destructive, because some of the countries are relying their security on United States and United States presence there. So they didn't see any advantages to go to talk with Iranian directly. This has happened, especially when you talk about the current relation or accord between Israel and some Arab nations and Arab countries around the Persian Gulf, because they saw that, United States are moving, maybe gradually, but at least they are shifting from Middle East to East Asia. It is not about Republican or Democrat. It's not about Trump or Biden or Obama. All of them, they know that the great power politics and international politics force United States to bring all sources and the human power and everything to East Asia because of China growth. So this is another matter. And but this flashed the Arab countries that if United States is not going to put an umbrella, security umbrella on us, we have to find another players in the region. And this is a bad move, to go and have some security ties with Israel. Everyone knows, every Muslim's hurt. But, this is a hope that the countries in the region, the Muslim countries, the Arab countries, all the countries in the region, Pakistanis, Turkeys, all of them, reach to understanding that, without the intervention of world powers, we have to come to the table to talk to each other. All of them have concern about each other. We know that Arab Saudis and Qataris have problems. Turkish with Arabs has problems. Iran with Turkey has problems. There are many problems there. So they have to solve it all by themselves, not by the interferences of the world powers.
How Iranians discuss these regional issues among them, one image is that it is Iran supporting Shias to rebel against people and oppress Sunnis. Now, Iran has been a superpower. It is mentioned even in the Quran, so historically it has been a great power. So Iranians see it as a aspiring to national emergence into a bigger than a country. Or is it the faith Shiaism which is inspiring them to have these type of hegemonic relationship, which these neighbors describe as hegemonic relationship and want to provide a counterbalance to it?
As you said, there are many talk about this, but even before the revolution, even during the Shah, during the Pahlavi regime. But actually, you know that Iranians also support groups like Hamas or Islamic Jihad or some groups in Afghanistan during the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. So for Iranians, as I know, as I understand, the most important issues is Israel's occupation of Palestinian land and Islamic land. And when something happened in Syria, when something happened in Saudi Arabia, there are many social activities in Iran. We have to do something, we have to do something. But all the time, the leaders of Iran, the supreme leaders and other leaders come and said, okay, the first priority is Israel. And all of these happening around us is because Israel wants to divert our attention to the Palestinian issues. So my understanding is that the Palestine issues and the occupation of the Holy Land could be the most important things that bring all of the Islamic countries together to talk about that and resolve that issue first, and then go through the other issues. But as you said, the Iranian, through the history, the geopolitics of Iran, the way that Iran located in that region, and the Persian-speaking countries, the culture that they received from 2,000, 3,000 years ago. The Shia group, as you said, that most of the time are the minorities during the histories in Lebanon, in Syria, in Iraq, in Iran, in Azerbaijani Republic, even in Afghanistan or sometimes in Pakistan. They are most of the time, as a minority group who are, didn't receive the same kind of behavior that all of the people in this region received in the past years, I mean. So yeah, there is challenging issues, but I mean that my understanding is that if all of these countries focus first of all on Israeli issues and what's happening as a human rights and as a Muslims to Palestinians issues, so they can come up to the understanding that these sectarian issues just is a conflict that put all of these countries on a business not related to Israelis and Palestinian focus on. So we hope that all of these countries back to the original rail.
Well, thank you so much, YOUSOF AZIZI. YOUSOF AZIZI is a graduate student, a citizen of Iran who is studying in Virginia Tech, Virginia. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Back to you, Hena.
Thank you so much. That's all from our Washington studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube and Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.